up, disciplined investor?
We got Benzinga CEO Jason Raznick here with us.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tom Nash.
Peter Schiff on the Power Hour with us live today. Interesting, different, unique, innovative companies. Mia, you are live with us on the Power Hour. What's up?
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
Jessica Billingsley, that is the CEO of Akerna, the best trade idea resource out there. Boom! What is up, everybody? Happy Monday morning. We are back at it, rocking and rolling. I don't know about you guys, but I was definitely a little bit nervous for the stock market today. We saw a lot of money flow out of crypto this weekend, especially, Sunday morning. I don't think any of us were feeling good, but lo and behold, we are feeling good today. Market is roaring. We got SPY up 1%. Let's do a quick check on the triple Qs, and I'll share my screen here. All right, look at that. Almost a 2% day on the NASDAQ, triple Q being the ETF that we use to track the NASDAQ. Just a monster day. Very strong off the open. We were up pre-market, very strong off the open, and still trending higher. So I'm feeling generally pretty darn good about that. But guys, welcome to the Power Hour. This is the Power Hour that you are hanging out on right now. If you don't know what the Power is, don't worry, I will tell you. This is the trade idea show, all right? That's what we're trying to do, is we're spending these 60 minutes together every single day because we want there to be literally no better resource for you to come and find trade ideas. That's the goal. That's what we're competing for. And we're just going to keep rocking and rolling like that, all right? So on the agenda for today, last week we said, would an intro to options be helpful for everybody? If we did a little session that was, hey, we're going to do some options lessons, would that be helpful? If people want that, we got a resounding yes. So today at 12:30 Eastern, so about 30 minutes from now, Options Mike is going to be joining the stream, and he's going to be coming on to give us that Options 101, that quick little intro to options lesson. So we have that to look forward to, and basically what we're going to cover today in like the Options 101, I'm guessing, is we're going to just be doing some basic contracts like, call buying, put buying. How do they work? How does the money flow? How do you make money? How do you lose money? How do you identify the setups? That sort of thing. And we're going to continue the options theme throughout the week. So if you are somebody who likes to have a reoccurring theme in your life, you don't like to switch things up, you want to have, something run consistently through, options is what it's going to be this week. So we're going to get more advanced with options throughout the week. Tomorrow, as an example, we're going to be doing option selling. So we're going to talk about selling puts, selling calls, and I've already got 3 trades queued up. I already know the stocks that I'm going to be trading tomorrow. So we're going to be doing 3 live trades on the program tomorrow where we are selling options. We're going to be going through the math on them. We'll pull out the Excel, figure out our profit and loss, why are we trading these contracts, etc. And so that's the idea for the week. Today, I've got a lot of tickers to talk about. let's see. I'm looking at a list of 7 tickers, 7 stocks for us to talk about. But before we get into our agenda for the day, what's up, BNZ, Clyde, Blind Trader in the chat? Guys, if you're hanging out in the chat, say hi. We're a community, right? This is Zinger Nation is. It's a family. They say not only say hi, also drop in your tickers that you're trading today. And let's start it off with this. I got a nice Twitter DM this weekend that reminded me that we never picked the winner for our chat challenge last week. So I will actually want to start there today before we get into stocks. All right, so on my screen, I have our chat challenge from last week. If you don't know what the chat challenge is, it's for Zinger Nation. Every single week, we're going head to head. We're doing a stock picking contest. All right, everybody in the chat is dropping in their tickers. They're saying, whatever the theme is, this is the best stock of the week, the worst stock of the week, whatever it is going to be. They're dropping those tickers in there. And so last week, I got to say, you guys were some pretty poor stock pickers. Most of the group was down, right? And down badly. Like we've got a lot of 30% losers, 10% losers, 20% losers. But we had literally only one big winning stock out of the group. It's going to James D in the chat with his pick of IDEX. Hold on. Wow, that's a really quiet air horns. Could you guys hear that? That was amazingly quiet. It maybe worked. I don't know. You tell me. Let's try it again. All right, first air horns of the day. James D in the chat with his pick of IDEX was the best performing stock of last week. James, we have some new Benzinga jackets. You are going to get mailed one. Drop us an email. It's powerhour@benzinga.com here. I'll pop in the chat and put that in the chat. Powerhour@benzinga.com. Powerhour@benzinga.com. Boom. All right, I just put that in the chat. Drop that email over. Tell us you won. And guys, if you did not get to participate in the chat challenge, or you participated and you were one of the losers, you picked one of these crappy stocks that was down 10% last week, don't worry. We're going to run another contest this week. It maybe guessing the price of Bitcoin. I don't know. If somebody has a better idea for the chat challenge, what the competition is, drop that in the chat too. All right. Always open to doing things a better way. And then I will make the ask as well, guys. Go ahead, smash that like button on the stream. Share the stream. We got 200 people in here, 29 likes. Let's run these numbers up. If we get it high enough, I think we get, a good 300-400 people in here. We might even get Jason into the group. But all right, without further ado, let's run through the trades. I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I made 5 trades last week. So every single day on the show, we take a look at the live portfolio. It's the list of stocks that I actually own in my real brokerage account. We check the performance over time, etc. We added 5 positions last week. So I want to hammer through those really quick. Talk about, hey, we added this stock. Why do we add it? How do we feel about it? How are we playing it now, etc. Guys, if you have other chat tickers, drop them in the chat. Like I saw the first one already come through. Sundial Growers. I'm going to add producer AB onto the stream now, too.
What up, Zinger Nation?
Do you have any opinion on Sundial Growers, producer AB? And where the hell are you? You're not at like your normal home with like all your college degrees behind you, your typical home office.
No, unfortunately, I don't have my degrees behind me. But I'm here in the Motor City in Detroit, Michigan, coming to you live from the Benzinga office. Happy to be here. Glad to be here. I'm in Sundial.
Big shout out, producer AB.
So look, Sundial, they've got, from what I understand, right, they make like a harvester for the cannabis. So it could be an interesting shovel play in the cannabis industry. The price action, this is one that we of course saw get a crazy run up. Yeah, back in
this was an Atlas favorite.
Yeah, and we saw it go.
My opinion is that the thing's not going to do anything until then. If like it starts to pick up in the social waves again, if it gets going in the chat rooms, boom, I'm a hammer that. I'm going to get back into this stock. Let's let it ride. Let's run it up. But nope.
So yeah, I mean it's hard to say if the run up, if it's like low float, shorted, what the deal is with that. But who knows? I mean, if the whole cannabis industry takes off and this really ends up being, if they're like the John Deere of cannabis, but my opinion is just that.
Yeah, but why now? I think that if you're not in the stock, you have no. I mean, I don't know the company, right? But again, I know that this last crazy move when the stock went from 50 cents to $4 was because it got run up on the social sentiment. You obviously don't have it right now. I don't know what other catalysts they have on the horizon. And we've got Christian in the chat is saying that that every time that the stock gets run up, management drops an offering on people. Obviously, that doesn't hurt. So there we go.
Yeah.
Somebody else is saying, look at the float.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Is I'm not sure. I haven't looked at like the most recent float data, how much it's shorted, etc. Jim Stocks is saying he wants it in at 50. I think I actually originally got in before that run up, somewhere around there. And so yeah, I haven't been in this since it had that crazy run up. But who knows?
The thing that I'll say too, guys, is that if you have tickers, if you have stocks for us to look at, this is the Power Hour. This is the Trade Idea Show.
I immediately regret this decision.
Drop your tickers in the chat. We'll look at them, okay? All right, AB, you want to hit some of the ones that I bought last week?
Let's do it.
All right, Coinbase getting a little bit of a saving grace today after the crypto market bloodbath this weekend. Goldman Sachs coming out with a buy rating on the stock. $306 price target. Let's talk about analyst ratings broadly as a whole. Guys, we have this amazing resource on benzinga.com that gives you all of the analyst upgrades and downgrades. I'm going to drop this in the chat. Like, bookmark this page and share this page. This is like one of my joys. This is actually the most, I believe, the most visited analyst ratings page on the internet. So you should definitely bookmark and look at this thing. But let's zoom in. Let's talk about analyst ratings as a whole for a second. So you get all these banks, right? Here's a list of firms right here that come out every day. There's maybe like 150 reports that come out with these sell side banks putting out their ratings on stocks. There's only a handful of them that actually cause stock prices to move. You've got Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, maybe a Citigroup, maybe a Credit Suisse, maybe a UBS. But Goldman really is the big one. These used to be way more influential. If we're talking 5-10 years ago, these used to always move stocks. It's been less so recently. But if we go ahead and we look at Coinbase on this page, COIN. All right, there you go. You've got Goldman Sachs coming out for the very first time on this stock. They have a buy rating on it. They announced that 306 dollar price target. If my mic is cracking, please let me know. And the stock gets a little bit of a pop despite the bloodbath in the crypto market. I mean, Coinbase, I'm long the stock for a couple reasons. Oop, I'm on the wrong Benzinga Pro. I've got a couple open. There it is.
It is cracking a little bit for me, but I didn't know if that was just my new setup.
All right, producer Rohan, can you help us, please? All right, producer Rohan's on it. But I'm long the stock for a couple reasons. One, it's a less volatile way to get access to the crypto market, right? It's going to move less than Bitcoin. It's going to move way less than your Mars or your Riots. Two, I think the stock is pretty cheap. I did a calculation over this weekend. We hosted our Benzinga boot camp. We walked through all the math to calculate the PE ratio on this stock. The PE on this thing is only 18.5 compared to the S&P 500 average, which is like these are mega lower growth stocks. Oftentimes, the average is 44 on the S&P 500. So I think it's a fairly inexpensive company. It's less volatile. It gives you some crypto exposure. So that's why I'm in that one. And I'm going to throw all these stocks that I bought last week. I'm going to drop them out to the chat. If you guys like this stock, you like Coinbase, drop me the 1. If you're hanging out on the sidelines, you're not in it, give me a 2. I want to know.
Why?
All right, there's the move there.
I need to go back and you know what I said last week about Coinbase? I wasn't saying I think it's going to go down to 150. I was saying if we saw more pain in the crypto market, as far as, we saw Bitcoin hit like 32,000 and bounce. But if we see Bitcoin fall through that support down below 32,000, down to like 28, down to 25, then that's when I think we can really see Coinbase get hurt, see it below 200. And if I see it at any point below 200, I will hop in.
All right, so there you are with it. And Voyager, people are asking about Voyager. We'll get to Voyager in a minute. I've got a deeper dive on Voyager that we're going to do today, hopefully, assuming we have time. We'll see. And look at all those 2s, AB. They hate this stock.
I think a lot of people got burnt on this when it came out at the IPO. People wanted it. They got in around 350.
If they listen to this show, all right, if you listen to this show, you did not get burnt on the stock. We specifically said the line to watch is, can the stock hold the open price? It didn't. We said we are not buying this thing. We just got in average price $235. So we're pretty much flat on the trade, right? $8 out of $235. It's like what, 3% or something. I told you guys, if that's not reason to like the stream and share the stream, I don't know what does. Okay.
Plus, you do have some upcoming catalysts with Coinbase, of course. Whenever they do list
other things, you got the Dogecoin, and then you also have the Robinhood IPO. If the Robin IPO is huge, Coinbase is going to run off of that. There's no doubt about it. GLD. That's another one that I got into last week. All right, we're talking inflation. I feel like inflation is it's like already been the dominant story. I feel like it's going to continue to be the dominant story, especially sort of as the world gets back to normal. The government cuts off the money printing machines a little bit. The market starts to crack. They have to issue more money. Inflation is here. There's no doubt about it. We saw the CPI numbers. Gold, historically, there's a ton of academic research which shows us that shows the price of gold increases when we are in high inflation environments. This is sort of my general market hedge. I actually took a fairly substantial position in gold. It's not volatile. So that's my deal there. And somebody saying any more info on it's Tony from Toledo saying any more info on the Robinhood IPO. It should be next month. That's the expectation that we have. That's what's been reported.
We'll have to ask our resident IPO expert, Matt Hammond, on that. Checking the pre-market prep. We'll get him on there.
Cool. But all right, so there's the gold trade, guys. Again, it's. Oh shoot, are we switching mics? All right, go on without me. Producer AB, we're going to mic switch to stop the crack.
So we're talking gold right now. I do want to go back. Luke mentioned the CPI. Before people get super scared about that, the one thing that I think was interesting looking back on that was the prices from the April CPI were based on last April's. So if you look at it and you look at the details, what was driving that CPI up higher, it was things such as, rental cars, travel, vehicles. And last April, right after the COVID shutdown, no one was renting cars. So prices were much cheaper than they normally are. And then they go back to normal. So it looks like, rental cars are 20% more expensive year over year, when obviously those were due to some other factors last April.
All right, I'm back, Producer AB. Can you hear me? How do I sound?
Yes, sir. You sound better. No.
All right, chat. Drop me a 1 if it sounds good. If it sounds bad, drop some expletives. Okay. All right. So gold. You're just talking about car parts, auto cars.
I was just talking about how the CPI was a little more inflated than it should have been because of last year's in April stuff like rental cars, etc., were way cheaper than they normally are.
Boom. We're getting positive feedback on the microphone. There's Bruce Rohan coming through. All right. That's taking us to carparts.com, another benefactor, I think, of rising inflation. People are not going to, if we get big inflation prices, used cars go up, the prices of them, new car prices go up. People are going to opt to repair their cars. It's been a red hot market. Carparts.com, a very cheap stock trading at 1.6 times price to sales. We bought this one last week in the live portfolio for just above $15. We've had the COO/CFO on the show several times. Only 3% of car parts in the U.S. are sold online. The rest of it is sold in stores digitally. Sold in stores, repair shops, etc. So I like this one as a long-term play. So that was another stock that we added to the portfolio last week. All right, and people are asking about LOTS and NEO. LOTS, I still own this stock. Here's a 1-year chart of LOTS, daily candles, obviously ugly. Let's zoom in a little bit. You don't have a ton on the chart, right? You've got this bottom right here at 488, 490. So somebody else, Andre in the chat's dropping that AutoZone is reporting earnings tomorrow. If you guys need a quick list of stocks reporting earnings, I've got you. Boom. Benzinga creates this cool graphic.
Yes, sir. Shout out to
Yep, that's how I knew AutoZone was reporting. Don't miss your earnings reports. I'm gonna drop this in the chat so everybody has that one. All right. But yeah, LOTS, I still own the stock. I have no reason really to own it. I cleared out most of the stocks I don't really have a reason to own recently. I do like the market in general, the used car market in general from an investment perspective. That's why I kept it. And I'm just sort of hanging out on this thing. I want to ask Singer Nation this one. If you guys still like LOTS at this price, basically $5 on the dot, throw me the 1. If not, throw me the 2. I want to see where everybody's at with this one. This one I think is going to be more divided.
What does LOTS do? Did they do anything like special or different, or they're just a used car?
So I believe it's like buying used cars in the United States. It's like a Carvana competitor.
Got it. Well, yeah, I was gonna say. If Carvana is like the leader, and they have a big,
everybody still loves LOTS. They're getting those ones out for LOTS. Okay, they're coming through. All right, let's look at NEO too. That was another one somebody dropped in the chat, up 5%. I wouldn't. Where are you at with NEO? I'm gonna get so much internet hate. I'm still the NEO bear. NEO is a stock that I've always loved to hate.
I think it's expensive right now, but hey, if you're throwing it in a long-term portfolio, 10 years, it's hard with some of these Chinese companies to know, how legit they're going to be 10 years from now, et cetera. But I think NEO's got a good long-term case. If they become the Tesla of China, the, go-to EV, I don't mind throwing a little bit of NEO in the long-term portfolio. Yeah. But right now, if I'm looking at it as like a short-term trade, still a little expensive for me.
Yeah, my thing with it too is if you're buying NEO, what catalyst are you buying it for? And I don't know the stock especially well, right? But you have a chart that's in a downtrend. You EVs were the hottest shit around. They're not anymore. Okay. Newsflash. It's been like 3 months since EV stocks have been hot. The money's rotated out of them. It went to crypto and now it's starting to flow back to small caps. It's not in EVs. We don't have an upcoming earnings report. Like, I don't know if you're buying the stock right now. I don't know what catalyst you're buying that stock for. That's my thing with NEO. And I see somebody else in the chat is dropping my favorite ticker F, still in this one. Stock calls, air horns for Ford. Dude, we make people money on the show. Again, this was our stock of the year. Is our 2021 stock of the year. Look at that chart. Getting what? So let's see, 850 minus 1320. What percent gain is that year?
Looking about 40%.
Divided by 8.5. Don't short me. 55% producer AB. I'm not gonna let you short me on my Ford returns. Guys, the line to watch in Ford. Okay, this is a year-to-date chart. 1360. I'm gonna zoom us out. 2-year chart. We're looking at 2 years now. 1360 still the high. I'm gonna zoom us out again. We're gonna go to 5 years on Ford. Okay, let's zoom it in. We're going to look at this 1360 line again. All right, 1360 is a high all the way back here. Let's get a date on this. It's a high all the way back to July of 2016, $13.60. That is your line to watch in Ford. If you're not in this one yet and you want to get into it, look for breakout on the upside. If you're in the stock now, see if the stock runs into trouble at 1360. But again, that's our 5-year high in the stock. That is the line we're watching. Jason's here. What is going on, sir?
What's up? How's the market today? How's life?
We are ripping, baby. Crypto's a little bit of a rebound after the bloodbath this weekend. You have SPY. We're doing a quick SPY check, up 1%. We look at the triple Qs, the ETF we use to track the NASDAQ, up 1.7%. Your Tesla's up 3.5%. So we're getting a little bit of action today.
So you're telling me it's too much cash on the sideline right now is what you're telling me.
I mean, do you have too much cash on the sideline or are you just off margin?
Well, let's see. I had a little margin, but that was because I had to pay a stock debt. Taxes. So, yeah, look at BTN up to 519, baby.
Woo!
I don't know why I ever sold any of that. I had like 3,200 shares, and I have I had 32,000 shares, and I have 26,000. That's wrong.
All right, so here's the 1-year chart of BTN.
I had 13,000 shares. What?
I'm looking at the 1-year chart of BTN. Check this out. We have a high right here, a high right here, a high right here. We got like a cluster of highs in the 530s. That's our line in the sand for BTN. 52-week high there. We're breaking out.
Look, I was all over it. But look at some of the other ones I'm all over that are kicking ass. If you have to go, look, I can just talk with Aaron about it.
Okay, give me some more. Come on. I need to see the Jason Raznick magic we're bringing to the show.
So Caesars, CZR. I've been all over.
Upwork, that's right, running into the 52-week high again.
Upwork, it's a hit. Odds across 43. TAP Molson.
Right, let's talk about Upwork for a second. Upwork is way down off of its highs. Do you think it's a chance for people who didn't get into it yet?
Well, look at GAN moving again. Now I'm going to buy some more shares of GAN right now, I think.
GAN had news today too.
What was the news?
Let's take a look. Stocks up 10%. All right. GAN announces binding agreement with Saginaw Chippewa Indian Tribe of Michigan to deploy GameStack at Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. So basically, it looks like GAN is going to be powering Soaring Eagle Casino.
All right. I just bought 200 shares.
All right, Jason.
FGF is over 8. Wow.
Wait, I've got a serious question for you now.
Holy shit. I'm up like 18. Wow. And 6 is the one I'm down on, Luke. 6 is the one I'm down on, but I bought another 100 shares on Friday, and I'm at 14,000. I'm down 5%, but I still think 6 goes up. Go ahead, Luke. Now, all
right. Serious question. This new deal that GAN has, Soaring Eagle Casino. I'm looking at the maps right here. It's a 2-hour and 18-minute drive. Can we do a channel check? I think it would be important for our viewers. We take a day, we go to the casino and do a channel check.
Is a channel check? It's a lot of people playing virtually, Luke. Right?
Okay. So, all right. I'll take it as a no. No fun around here.
I'm not
Just
against
stock ideas.
but Luke, I want to say thank you to you. You gave me Ford at $10 and it's up 31%. I don't know why I reduced the position so early, but I did.
All right, I've got good news for you. Let's do one more really quick. But I think I have good news for you for Voyager.
Wait, can you help me before you go on to Voyager? Can you help me with one thing?
Yep.
Zinger Nation, help me. I don't understand something. Okay, so maybe I just paid too high of a price. Then I own BTN calls. Okay, for September, I own September BTN calls. They're September $7.50. Oh wait. BTN is below 750, right? Where are we at?
For 750, you got to
we're
waste
below
it.
it.
You got
We're
50%.
below it. We're below it. Forget it. So I'm down 45% on those, but
time decay.
Well, no, but it's also below the strike price. I was thinking it was way above. I guess I bought way out of the money, but who cares?
You must have bought way out of the money.
Yeah.
I mean, do they cost like nothing? Do you have your average price there?
Yeah, my average price is, what would I buy it for? I bought it for 45 cents, and they're at 30 cents.
Okay.
I bought it for too much. I was one of those guys that someone was happy to sell their call to me.
Okay.
We have a good guest that we can ask the time decay about in a few minutes here.
Surface Oncology. Oh, remember I bought that Surface Oncology for the show?
How's it doing?
Let's see. I sold.
Here's a 5-day chart on the screen. It looks like it's pretty much flat.
Down 3%.
All right, whatever. Unmoved.
Should I get out of it more?
Yeah.
Okay.
So and here's why I'm saying that. I mean, it was the Hugh. Well, Hugh's going to come on this week to talk about it. So maybe you sell it, and then we'll bring Hugh Henney on to talk about it and why you should or shouldn't own it. How's that?
Well, I just tried to sell, but it says I have shares. Oh, that's why I have my 915. That's what the issue is. Okay, I got to change it. All right,
Jason, and before I run, we've got to do a big Voyager session tomorrow. I did a lot of research this weekend on Voyager into their upcoming earnings report.
How'd you have time? You worked your ass off this weekend.
I did work my ass off. It was okay. That might have done the research at around 2 a.m. on Saturday instead of sleeping. Probably should have been sleeping, but I don't have air conditioning and I really couldn't. So I got back out of bed and dug into it.
If people worked 50% as much as you on the weekend that were at Benzinga or wannabe, like they would do amazing. Aaron Bree was put in that. Oh, look at Penn back.
Do you even know where Aaron? Did you see Aaron Bree's video yet?
Which one?
Just look at him.
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Okay.
Oh, he's at the office.
Yes, sir.
Did he get a plate? Did he move here?
Yep.
For real?
Not for real yet, but I'm at an Airbnb right now for a couple of weeks with my buddy, and then we're looking at leases. So
the buddy that made Josh the video?
Yep.
Make him pay more for it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, because I don't think we're gonna pay you that kind of fee. But if you worked as hard as Luke, you'd be getting up there. But
you'd be making more than a Lions starting punter.
Yeah, you could be.
Let's do it.
Example.
Let's do it.
You could be making between 150 and 350.
Aaron Bree told me his first day, he said that we were going to do an NFL podcast where once a week we're going to have an NFL player on to talk about the stock market and like investing in personal finance. If he made that happen, it would be unreal.
Yeah, I mean, but Aaron, it's you. If you want to work like Luke or work like that, you can make a nice 6 digits. Luke makes a nice 6 digits, maybe 7. I don't know, but a lot.
Yeah, I mean, now that when I'm here in person, I see how hard Luke's working. It's inspiring. I can't lie.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of that's innate in yourself. Can you do it? Can you not? Like, yes, you're right. You're the average of the 5 people around you. So when I see Luke, it's inspiring too. So it makes me, if I'm just hanging out with, deadheads who don't, then you're right. So hope that rubs off. But
Aaron did call me last night. He's like, what time are you going to be in tomorrow? I'm like, I'll be in at 6. He's like, all right, I'll get in at 6. If you're getting in, then I'll be there.
Was he in at 6?
Well, Luke told me not to get in that. I was here before most people.
6:30.
Yeah.
He was
here pretty damn early. Yep.
Wow.
I'm like, I don't want to open up the computer and register you, so get in at 6:30 because I'll register you in the morning in case you beat me in.
Wow, that's
But now that I'm all set up, who knows? Maybe I'll beat Luke to the office tomorrow.
Hey, Luke,
Boom.
Luke, why don't you give the Wall Street Journal guy a badge?
He doesn't have one?
No, every day he goes to the front. When he comes in, he goes in and checks in, does the whole thing through security every day.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that.
And I've been meaning to say something, but now.
Okay.
I don't know if I guess. So Voyager, you did a study on, and you're seeing good.
I did a study. So. All right. Tomorrow, I've already got 3 stocks to trade, and we're doing the Voyager deep dive. So y'all better not miss that. Which means you better hit the subscribe button. But all right, we've got a couple new team members here at Benzinga, so I'm gonna go spend some time with them, get them building, and I'm gonna let you guys run with it. All right.
Yep. Thank you. Good luck. Peace.
Peace and love, Luke.
Peace and love, Luke. Peace and love. So, Aaron, I know we are having the man, the myth, the legend. Options might come out in a minute. Is he gonna like take over and show some of the kind of stuff he's doing, or what is your plan for him?
Yeah, I mean, so typically, we've had Options Mike on before. We would usually get into some more advanced things, but today we're just doing Options 101. So I'm going to talk to Mike. We're going to try to stick to basic, calls, puts, really help people out from the beginning stages of how to trade options.
Yeah, the stream was hard to find. Who just said that? The stream was hard to find. I don't know what he's referring to. The stream was hard to find. This one?
Probably searching on YouTube. Let me see if it's.
You guys shouldn't put Benzinga Stock Market Live. Get rid of the word Benzinga and just put Stock Market Live for the titles, because people search Stock Market Live. So yeah, guys, I like using margin when the market is trending up. So that's when I use margin and I get off. Okay, but so Aaron Bree, you really should focus in and try to mimic what Luke does. And you mimic what Luke does and his behavior and his attitude and all that stuff and what he does. And every time he's not screwing around, you can make the kind of money that he does. I swear. Anyone can. Anyone can. It's not just Luke who makes that, by the way, at Benzinga. How will people know it's Benzinga? Because they'll see the logo, arguably. And that's just a subject line, Stock Market Live. And I don't know. I mean,
yeah, if we have Stock Market Live, but it still is on the Benzinga channel, then you'll be able to see that it's coming from Benzinga, even if it's not in the title.
My printer is printing out right now. That is very weird. Or doing something. Yeah.
You getting a fax? What year is it?
I don't know what is going on. I'm very interested to see what's coming out of that thing. All right, do the music. Get Options Mike on. Let him go. He's too good. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Mike, how we doing?
Aaron, how are you, man?
I'm good. Good to have you back on the show.
Always a pleasure.
What's up, Mike?
Jason, man, how you been? Been a while.
How are you? It's been a while. How are you? I like
doing good, thanks.
You look nice. Got a blue background, blue shirt.
Going for it.
Looking good, man. Looking good.
Even got the air conditioner off today for the first time in a week. Nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where are you located?
I'm in New Jersey, and it was 95 yesterday and humid. It was not fun.
I like to be cold versus warm, like in a house. So I keep the air conditioning on a lot, maybe too much, but that's just me.
I can go with that.
Yeah, I like to be cold. Not like, I don't like snow, but I have fans next to me. I keep fans nearby.
Well, I have a personal space heater at my computer and 6 monitors. Tends to warm my office up rather nicely.
Haha. See, there you go. All right. Well, here, Aaron, take it over, baby.
All right.
Yep. Nice.
Mike, do you have a screen you can share with us to kind of show us about just your basic option strategy?
I can definitely share my screen. Let's see.
If not, I can
see
pull
what
up charts
share
on
it's going to give you.
You should have the option to do different windows, or usually like just sharing a specific application or tab is the easiest. That way you can go back to it.
I'm going to let you do it. Let me try this off because I don't want my account information accidentally gets going on screen.
Oh yeah. Hear you there. All right. Well, give me a sec. Can you just start us off by explaining kind of the differences between trading options versus just buying common stock in shares of a stock, and then what the benefits of options can be for even a smaller trader?
Sure. So when you buy stock, you're buying the equity, right? And let's say you went out today and let's say you bought Snap right now and it's trading at $59.74, and you bought 100 shares of Snap. You would pay your $5,974, and you own 100 shares. If the stock goes down $1, you lose $1 per share. If the stock gets back to 59.74, you're break even, right? So you have, whatever the stock does, your movement is completely based upon the stock price, right? And you have no expiration. You can hold it forever, right? If you want to hold Snap for the next 20 years, have at it. You never have to sell it. Options are a contract. And what options are, they're a contract between you and whoever you're selling the options to, or if you're buying a put or a call. And we'll keep it simple today. I'm just going to be saying I'm going to buy a put or a call. And what they do is they basically give you the ability to buy or sell a stock at a specific strike price. They have an expiration date. Typically, if you look, most people want to trade weeklies or the front month. But every month you have monthly expirations on options. By the way, to new people, I highly recommend you focus on monthlies and stay away from weeklies until you get more advanced. Most people I know, they tend to take their biggest losses always on weekly options. But what they do is they also give you leverage, and that's why we love them as traders. One contract. So if I bought one $60 call on Snap, for example, right now, and you can take a look at that and say, okay, Snap here. Let's do the June expiration of Snap. The $60 call is right now trading at roughly $293. Right? I would put out each contract is worth 100 shares. So that would be the same as me buying 100 shares of stock. So very simple. I would put out $293, and that would be what my risk on Snap. My risk is now premium paid, right? So the worst I can lose on that trade is $293. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So essentially, for even smaller investors, you can find a premium like that that's just $239 or $293. You said?
No, that's where that one was at currently. Yeah.
So I mean, that's where I think it plays in a lot for newer investors, because people tend to get really scared about options. They think, oh, you can lose infinite amount of money or you have unlimited loss potential, whatever. When it's actually the exact opposite. If all you're doing is buying a simple call contract.
Right, but there is something that has to be dealt with, and that's called theta decay in stocks. And I don't want to go heavily into the Greeks, but every day that goes by, you have a decay in an option. It's a stock of the price doesn't move, the option's going to go down a little bit. And if you look at that call that we just called out in Snap, it has a decay of, let's pull it up here, theta decay is 6 cents. So every day, let's say the stock for whatever reason didn't move a penny, that option is going to lose 6 cents. And the closer you get to the expiration, this case being June 18th, the faster that option is going to decay. It's an accelerated trend. It's a curve. Comes up and then it just starts to go down. Any option that expires out of the money is going to zero on options expiration. Very important thing to know about options. If they expire in the money, you're going to get assigned. So if you own the 60 calls and Snap closes at $60.01, and by the way, it's not the close of the trading session on Friday. It's usually around between 4:30 and 5 when the market makers actually come in, the brokers do all their signing of it. You could get assigned 100 shares. You need to have the cash to bring that on. Something a lot of people just don't realize when they first start trading options. And so all of a sudden they're getting a margin call because they now have a whole bunch of shares in their account and they don't know what to do.
Yeah, and I don't know if you were watching earlier, but that's what Jason was talking about, his BTN calls, that the stock's been up, but the calls are down, and it's, because of that time decay.
Well, it's time decay, and there's something else going on here, and that's the VIX. The VIX had a big run a week ago, but as the VIX comes in, VIX affects the price of options. When volatility is cheaper, options are cheaper. When volatility is more expensive, options are more expensive. So when you get a big yank in like we had on the VIX last week, you see the price of options come crashing back down again, and all that volatility, it's called implied volatility, comes out. Meaning if the stock's not moving enough underlying, your option's going to be worth less and less at the end of the day.
So have you ever seen something where say I buy a Snap call and tomorrow the VIX shoots up, but the stock is like barely down? Have you ever seen something where the contract actually becomes worth more just based on the VIX and not based off stock movement?
I see it every day based upon big flow. And if you really want to see that come to play, what I do is I call out option flow for my members and we know what's going on. But when you see big time option flow coming into a name, the first thing the market makers do is they jack up the implied volatility on the name because all of a sudden they have risk, right? So if you think what a market maker does, they make their money off the mid range, right? And the first thing they do is when they get hit with a large order, is they jack up the price of the options, the implied volatility, because they want to reduce their risk. And they also go and they hedge the order off. By the way, if you want to look what happened in GME and these Reddit guys, they figured this out, and they used cheap calls on GME and some of these other names to drive the price of the stock off, because as they were buying the calls, the market makers were actually buying the stock to take away, to hedge it off. They didn't want anything to do with the bets. So you see that all the time where the stock doesn't go up much, but the options go soaring because the implied volatility goes up. One thing to be careful with. If nothing happens in a short period of time, guess what happens to that implied volatility?
It goes down.
Comes right back down, and the option price comes crashing back down with it.
So one thing that I thought was really interesting with the whole GameStop saga on the option side was once it did get that huge one. Let me go back. Let me go to like a 1 year so we can see this huge run up. Once it did get all the way up here to 450, whatever, there were a lot of people that were buying puts back down at say 200, whatever, and the stock would drop, but the puts were actually worth less. And that was because a lot of the, as you were saying, the volatility was coming out of the stock.
Yeah. So when they were buying those cheap puts, when it was up around $500 a share, you're $400 out of the money. You need a lot of movement for that to work. And the one thing you have to look at when you look at options is look at the delta. Delta is how many cents my option will move based upon a $1 move in the underlying equity. So if GME, they were buying puts that had a 1 cent delta, even if it dropped $50, right? As you pointed out, the IV is going to drop more. The options are decaying. It's just not enough to get the options to work. And a lot of people found that out the hard way.
Yeah, and well, in the initial run up, the IV just got so high because the volatility was crazy that once a little bit of that volatility came out, and I mean, I saw people that actually they would buy like say like a $250 put, and then GameStop was below 250, and still their put contract was worth less than it was. So it's not always as cut and dry as stock going up, the calls are gonna do well. Stock going down, the puts are gonna do well.
Well, I mean, I remember GME had volatility IV of over 600%. I think it was like 660, 700% at one point.
Yeah, which that's just unheard of.
Right, and now it's trading around 100%, which is a heck of a lot more reasonable.
Yeah, which we are getting a little into, some of the technicals, Greeks here, but let's bring it back to options 101. Get back to basics. So as far as how another way that I think that smaller traders can benefit from using options is just hedging their portfolio. So if your portfolio is just all long, you have all the stocks that you love, it's really easy, like within the past couple of weeks with some market weakness, to see your portfolio get hit 10, 20%. And if you just have some, say, SPY puts in there, something like that, it can really help even out your portfolio on those red days.
I mean, so I had up until 2 weeks ago, I had a hedge on with the VXX. So for me, part of when you trade options is also understanding what the market's doing. Are we in an uptrend? Are we in a downtrend? Or we've been pretty much stuck in a sideways trend now for the last couple of months in the SPY, right? Which, by the way, is the worst thing for options because it just chews option premium. But yeah, you have a hedge. That means that, it gives you the chance to react. The purpose of a hedge to me is I wake up one morning and the market's down 3%, 5%, whatever it is. I have something to take the edge off, right? To soften the blow of the hit that's coming to what I have in place and make smarter decisions. So for me, I like the VXX because I'm a bull-minded guy at heart, and I'd rather be long than short. It just works to my mentality better. But to your point, puts on the SPY, the Qs, the IWM, pick your favorite index works well, or your favorite name that you really like to put puts on. Another great strategy there is if you own the stock outright, for every 100 shares you have, you could sell a call against it and do a covered call and collect the premium. As the stock goes down, you get to basically, you can buy the calls back cheaper or let it expire worthless. Your risk is if that the stock reverse and it goes up, you'll get called away at the strike price. But as long as you're willing to do that, for me, I always am. Okay, so I get called away, I still make money and I keep the premium from the options. Another nice little thing to do.
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing that I always get kind of scared of when doing that is I don't want to wipe out my gains that I'm getting because I'm like buying, say, puts on SPY. And if, like you're saying, if SPY is just in a side trend and it's not going down or up, then those puts are just getting crushed because of the Theta Decay. although maybe we can get into this another day when we get into options 201, there are kind of option strategies way to play a stock that you think is going to be moving sideways.
Correct.
But yeah, those are a little bit more advanced. We'll get into those at a later date. So here's what I want to do for the next, we've only got about 5-10 minutes. I want to take some questions from the chat. See if anyone out there, maybe you haven't traded options before, but you want to try. If you have any questions about, where do you start, etc., please ask us. We'll get Options Mike here, who's a pro, to give you a good answer.
Happy to.
And yeah, I mean, that's for me. So I would just suggest for anyone that's maybe just starting is stick to something that's not, terribly expensive. Like you're not buying super expensive premiums.
Another piece of advice real easy for you guys here is, there's certain names I just won't touch with options. And, a simple rule of thumb for me, if it trades under 1 million shares a day, I generally don't trade the options on it. Not the option volume, just stock volume. Secondly, if the name's not liquid, names like Booking.com, Chipotle, where they, when you can see they only trade like a couple hundred options a day, you don't want anything to do with that, because if it goes against you, the bid ask on that can be as $2-3 wide on your option, and good luck getting out, because the market makers are going to make you pay through the nose to get out. So you need to play names that are liquid. If you're just starting, stick to names like Ford, GM, Apple, Facebook, Microsoft. AMD is very liquid. I mean, just trying to give you some names off the top of my head, where tremendous amount of option flow every day. Spreads are typically within a couple pennies of each other. Really something that'll help you out.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, if you're trading options on a stock that's trading less than 1 million shares a day, it's just hard when you don't have that volume to, like, even if you're right, even if the stock goes up and you have some calls, a lot of times those calls won't reflect that as much on a stock that does have good volume.
Correct.
Tom Lindbergh is asking, I want to ask about the wheel option strategy. Can you explain if that's a reasonable strategy? So I think that's a little bit more advanced, but we can touch on that.
Which option strategy?
He says wheel option strategy.
I've never heard that one, honestly, and I've trading options now for 14 years. I have no idea what that is.
Maybe we'll have to have Tom on one day to teach us about the wheel option strategy, because I personally don't know anything about that one either.
Never heard of that one.
Go
ahead.
I was just going to say more along. I mean, I was going to speak on my personal experience trading options. Actually, my biggest learning point was last year, right before COVID hit. I was looking at, I like to kind of like watch global news, look what's going on. And I was reading all these stories from Italy about COVID, all this stuff. And you'd turn on CNBC and they'd be saying, oh, COVID's not coming here, like all this stuff. And I was like, well, this seems a little bit different than, Zika or Ebola, some of these other like virus scares that we've had. And so I bought some puts on some companies that I thought wouldn't do well. And then eventually, like ExxonMobil, Darden owns Red Lobster and Olive Garden and all these restaurants. I was like, oh, these restaurants are going to close. And I kid you not, I made from $600 in my checking account, was making thousands of dollars on these puts and just having the time of my life. And then literally I can look at my portfolio, and on March 18th, which was the lowest day of the market, was my portfolio's highest point. And I just kept everything short. And as the market turned around, lost everything I had gained. Luckily, didn't lose any of my, I ended up even, but to lose those thousands of dollar gains in such a short time was a very big learning experience for me trading options.
Yeah. So again, something else to keep in mind when you bring that up is that when the market, you don't have to let everything go to zero. And there's a lot of people that believe that they can't put stops in on options. And I will tell you, you can absolutely put stops on options. This one overwhelming belief is, well, my risk is premium paid. Well, no offense, if a trade is not working, why should I give all of my option money back? So I typically put on a 30-day plus option a 50% profit stop or max loss. This way, once, if I lose 50%, my theory is chances are that trade's not going to work anymore, because the option may not be able to get back to where it was, even if the stock price got back to where it was. Another thing you can do, and I always tell people this, is take profits along the way. And the biggest mistake I see people doing all the time, where they just beat up their mental capital is they get up nicely on it and then they get greedy. So, if you have a $2 option, you're up a buck and you have a bunch of them, take some, sell some, put a profit stop now at the money. Because the worst thing that happens when you're up nicely on a trade and then the trade turns and it goes against you. Now you go from a nice big green trade, now you're red. It just screws up with your mental psychology. There's no reason to let it happen. Stops are put them in for a reason. They're there to keep your profits safe. Most people confuse that what we do is about making the big money every day in, day out. What we do is most important as traders is consistently make money, manage our losses, and keep your account steadily moving forward. And that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, 100%. And I've learned that the hard way. I pull up this Scott's chart because a few months ago, let's see, when was this? I bought some like calls right around here. So at the beginning of May for like midsummer Scott's calls. And I had my thesis on it, and the stock was ripping and my calls were up like, I want to say 100% at one point. And I was looking at my portfolio like, but nothing in my thesis about Scott's has changed. Like I still think it's going to do well in the summer or whatever. And then of course we saw this big downtrend, and that coupled with the Theta Decay, I went from being up 100% to like down. And I was like, that was so silly. I could have seen that the calls were up 100%, sold, if not all of them, at least some of them. And instead ended up getting out and like salvaging some of my money, but definitely learning that the hard way along the way.
So here's an example. I've been in Mondelez now for about a week and a half, and they first started by buying a ton of the June 65 options on it. Big volume there. And
what's the ticker on that one?
Mondelez, MDLZ.
MDL.
There you go. Hit an all-time high today. Okay. So they've been buying calls hand over fist, but the calls weren't working in this one. The reason is that the stock wasn't moving enough and the calls were decaying and the VIX was coming in, and the initial calls I had went red. So liked it, bought a couple more, added to those June 65s. On Friday, we saw big, massive call buying again into the June 67.50 calls. Figured something's up. Let me buy some of those too over the weekend. Came in this morning, stock was up bid. The first thing I did was I sold my June 65 calls for a small profit, but better than a loss. Took some risk off the tables, now letting the 67.50s work as it goes into an event for next week. They have an analyst day. And everybody's like, well, why would you sell some? I'm like, well, I don't want to be oversized. I was hoping maybe to catch some news this weekend. We didn't. The stock's up at all-time highs. I still have some exposure. It's about managing risk and not letting things get away from you. And the worst thing I see people do is they don't manage risk, or whenever the stock dips or the options dip, they just keep adding. For me, I don't like to add to losing positions often, because if it's not working, it's not working. Get out of it, come back another day.
100%. And like going back to my little story about last year at COVID, when I made a bunch of money buying puts and then didn't sell them and then, lost that money that I gained, it's fun and it's great if you do have an option contract that goes up X 100%, 1,000% even. But I would much rather take consistent, 10, 20% gainers on these contracts day in and day out than, take the risk of trying to watch, if you have something that's already in the money, instead of trying to watch it run to 1,000%, whatever it is, just consistently take those profits and you're going to be better off in the long run.
Maybe leave one on a runner just in case.
Yeah, that's
stop at break even at that point.
That's one of my favorite things is if I have like 5 contracts and I can sell 3 of them for all the money that I put back in and then just leave those 2 remaining contracts. It's like a free on the house. Like if I'm right and it keeps going, then great. If not, then it was free 2 contracts,
Exactly.
All right. Well, last question we'll get from the chat is, do you have any kind of thing any stocks you're not picks, but stocks you're looking at right now? I know you said you were still a little bearish on NEO.
Yeah, I'm not big on any of the China names right now. I think there's a lot of trouble there still percolating, and with NEO, the unaudited side of it has me very concerned as we keep going forward. For what it's worth, last night I went over my members and talked about how I think we thought today we might see a rotation into tech. We talked about it more this morning, and we finally got a nice breakout on the Qs here above the 50-day. And at this point, keeping an eye on names like Facebook to run back to all-time highs, and NVIDIA, I didn't have earnings this week. I would love to be in it, but remember, if you're playing options on the week of earnings, the premiums are jacked, so basically makes it so you have to pay through the nose to get into them. So I don't usually trade options on earnings week. Just for
Yeah, and it's so hard because I mean we've seen so much, especially in this recent earnings season, a company report great earnings and then the stock go down. I think Nvidia will be interesting because I mean I don't know what their earnings are going to look like, of course, with the chip shortage and whatnot going on. But yeah, if you're that's a dangerous game to play, is to try to trade options into the earnings.
So for me right now, my focus is on tech for this week. I think we're seeing some rotation, see if that can come up. Typically a bullish week into next Tuesday, and then we see where we go from there.
Yeah. And, I was watching NVIDIA earlier. It's been moving a lot today. I don't know if this is one of, a lot of times we see with some of these bigger tech names where the stock will kind of run up into earnings and then have a sell-off. And we saw that with Apple.
Oh, every semiconductor has sold off on earnings this quarter for the most part. I think there's only been one or two that haven't. So that has me on edge because it doesn't really matter what they report, and guidance has been great on all of them. It just hasn't seemed to matter.
Yeah, but like you said, even if I think like, oh, this stock's gonna run up into earnings, then have a sell-off, the puts are expensive. I'm not gonna touch those. It's a little dangerous.
So final piece of advice, if you want to trade after earnings and options, wait at least 5 minutes before taking an option after earnings the next day, because you have to let the IV be drained out, because the market makers, the first thing they do is when the options open, they drain the IV out, which takes about half the option price away. So wait 5 minutes before grabbing an option on a name.
Awesome. That's another great piece of advice. I've also heard that you don't want to buy options right at the open because VIX can tend to be a little bit higher than 15 minutes down the road.
It can, but I generally don't care. After 5 minutes, if I like the setup, I take it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Mike. When we get back into some more advanced options, we'll bring you back on. Maybe we can do a breakdown of all the different Greeks that you look at.
Sure.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, of course. Everyone go give Mike a follow on Twitter. It's @OptionsMike. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is.
@OptionsMike. I'll throw it up there, throw the link in the chat. And yeah, if you're curious about learning options, there's no one better than Mike here.
Thanks, Aaron. Have a good one.
You do the same. My man Mitch, what's up?
What's up, dude? What's up? How's the market for you today?
I haven't really had time to check my portfolio, but the stocks that I like seem to be. I love Nvidia, and I've got that in my long-term portfolio, so it's nice to see that up $25 today.
Whew. Big pullback here in tech, but honestly, I'm thinking this might bounce back, and we might get a great day in tech. I'm going to show right here. I got you. If you want to go ahead and head out, and we'll see you at Get Technical, or we'll see
I'll be
you
back in a couple minutes for Get Technical. I appreciate it.
Got you. I'll hold this down for you. All right, guys. So I'm going to really quickly just run you through the sectors of the day. One of the things I did at the open, and now I'll go ahead and get through it here in the middle. So definitely smash the like if you guys like me doing this, guys. Let me forget the little light. Let's keep going here. All right. So technology here, you guys saw a big push up here right out the open. Semiconductors really leading, as you guys can see. We just talked about some of that one, that NVIDIA play also looking great. NVIDIA looking good here. MU with a nice move. I don't know if you saw Micron Technology. That was an interesting move right there. Another one, AMAT doing a nice move up. So definitely take your eyes on these. Keep your eyes on them. And for that, how's Intel doing? There you go. Look at Intel just pushing up on the high of the day right now. And this is one of my favorite patterns, guys. Whenever you get this kind of dip below the VWAP, then it clears it and holds it on a pullback. This is a nice VWAP bounce play, nice pushback up there in INTC. So definitely, guys, let me know what you guys are looking out there. And I can also take a look at some of these specific stock tickers if you guys want me to take a look. But definitely smash the like. Mike did a great job there. Real estate looking good today, man. I didn't expect to see this one. Real estate services, residential, office looking good there. Let's take a look also at consumer cyclical, and of course, gambling. We talked about if the major stocks started roaring again, you could potentially see the industry start making a move up. So one that I've been watching, guys, for a while, and I've been telling you a lot of people on Money Mitch. I mean, if you're not watching, you're probably not on with the trends here, but we said, watch out for this DKNG push back up. And with that being said, we're going to also watch to see if Penn can start ripping and be the leaders that they are. And with that being said, you can take a look at some other plays. I talked about this on Friday. I said, GAN, I'm liking this. I'm liking this approach. Today, it's up almost 9% here. Great move for GAN. Another one that I like, guys, is RSI. RSI is another one that I'm keeping a close eye on. We've gone down and up today, so we'll see if we can get back above 13s for this on RSI. That'll definitely give me a good look. As you guys see, a good push from the 1250s. That's what I wanted to see, guys. I was actually thinking about maybe double downing in this position. I actually have an entry on RSI at 1205. So I'm letting this stock work here. Another one in that industry that you can take a look at is, of course, resorts and casinos are moving up today. And we talked about some of those in the morning. MGM, we're going to take a look at. MGM having a great day here, pushing on up there past the resistance of 40.98 and really starting to push up. CZR, one that Jason Raznick mentioned on Friday, guys, in that red candle, and look at it, one day up and you have a nice move up today. That's another one to definitely keep on your radar, guys. And then, of course, Win is another great one there. Look at this push on the daily. I like this one of any of the charts. This one's looking great here through the 130s. If we can get some volume there at 130, it definitely could keep coming on up. All right, guys, we're waiting for a second here. We'll get Neil on Get Technical. Hopefully he doesn't kill the plant today, guys. I'm going to need you guys to save the plant. So if you guys don't know about the plant, then you guys probably haven't checked out Get Technical. So if you need to find out what the plant's all about, definitely stick around for Get Technical. We'll be getting started in about a minute or two. But another one that I'm going to take a look at, and before we get you on out of here, guys, is an energy kind of pullback day. Let's see if this continues, because I'm still looking at oil on kind of this uptrend. And if you look at the gush, this is a leverage kind of gas look. And we've gotten kind of a pullback, but also a push up here. Let's see if this continues on the downtrend. One of the ones that I was looking to see push up, because it's the opposite, was drip today. And as you can see, it's turned back around. And so I think you're going to continue to see oil demand continue to increase. Another in consumer cyclicals that I was watching was lodging. I talked about it in pre-market prep. I said Hilton was on my radar, guys. I said also Marriott was also on my radar, guys. Good day there for Hilton, though, starting to push up there. Mars, which is Marriott, also a good day. And for that being said, did Airbnb have a good day? Oh, looks like it's finding a good bottom here. This is what I like to see sometimes, guys. Undercut and rally, but really, we haven't really cut kind of these lows, so we got to be careful if we go to attempt these 125s. But it is an interesting day and something that I'll definitely keep an eye out on those. But definitely lodging, keep your eyes out. There's also different plays in lodging. Let's see how the airlines are doing today. I know that some people are going to keep an eye out on these. So LUV, you can take a look at. We could take a look at this industry watch. And one of the things that I do see is a strong support there for the airlines. And so maybe we continue to see a push up. All right, guys, another one that I'm keeping an eye out for is kind of cruise lines. And let's see how CCL is looking right now. Carnival is probably my strongest pick out of the cruise lines. And man, that looks like a good strong candle today. After we got this kind of drive up, we got a couple sideways days, and now we're driving back up through that 28.17. If we can get above 28 and hold, this one will be looking good to start approaching that 31 approach. All right, what's going on? All right, guys, so the next one up, NCLH. That's another good cruise line play that I like here, guys. It's starting to really match up towards this trend. We want it to get back up towards this high around 31.50. So right now it's starting to look stronger, and we got a push here off this 28.50. So definitely you can use that as kind of a risk point. But this $30 right here is where we want to start seeing some real lift come. As you can see, this one has a tendency of going up and back down, up, back down, up, back down. Let's see if it now holds that 28.50 and really starts pushing on those 32s. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. Neil should definitely be getting started. Let me check just to make sure. AB will let me know there. All right, guys, looks like Jivo is one being mentioned in the chat, so I'll get that last one through, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up here. All right, so one of the things is you saw a nice push back from kind of this lower 475 on GVO. I do like kind of this little push, but one thing I would use on GVO so I don't get caught too often is let's use a weekly chart on this one so we don't get caught off kind of jumping into a daily push out. And so one of the things I'd point out is kind of a horizontal line right here, a support being drawn kind of closer towards this 590s. So this 590s definitely needs to hold if it pulls back. Maybe you get a test of this 575, 573. So let's see if we can get a pullback there first before you go and kind of load the boat in this one. But I do see kind of the approach that you're trying to take there. The only thing is that you got a kind of 1 bottom look, 2 bottom look, and then a 3 bottom look. You don't want to see it break that support there at 573. So I think you might get a test of it. And what you would want to see is a quick reversal right back up and heading towards that $8 on GVO, guys. All right, guys, going to go ahead and wrap up here. I hope you guys enjoyed me going through some of the sectors and the industries here. One of the things that you guys can do me a favor, if you guys enjoyed this, is hit us up on the comments below after the show. Let us know what you want to see more on Power Hour. We'll definitely reach out to those guests and definitely adapt the show for the viewer out there. So give us some feedback. And now coming up, you got Get Technical, guys. And like I mentioned, save the plant. Save the plant. Guys, just save the plant and check out